What's up, all? I am going to do a little video series here documenting the journey of my wrist reconstruction and therapy. Back in January, I'm a crisis counselor in the local school district here. I was involved in an incident where I unfortunately tore a ligament in my wrist, the scapholunate ligament. If you are unfamiliar, if you're looking at the back of your hand, the scapholunate ligament joins two bones, the scaphoid bone, which is right here at the base of the thumb, so right around this area here, and the lunate bone, which is kind of directly right next to it. Those two bones, very, very key in stability of the wrist, range of motion in the wrist, the twisting, the flexibility and mobility. So at this point, since it happened about 2 months ago, it's pretty uncomfortable on a pretty consistent basis. Unfortunately, what happens is you don't realize how many little micro movements something is involved in until you can't really use it. So at this point, there's a lot of stiffness, like I said, a lot of discomfort. If I move wrong, try to pick something up, there's not a lot of stability and strength if I try to pick something up this way. If I go to pick something up this way, all right here, you can kind of feel the bones just kind of separate, the wrist gives out. I don't really have a lot of strength in it. I do wear a brace for the most part that keeps it from kind of going down or up. It has, the brace has the bar up here and down here. And it kind of keeps me from moving it too much one way or the other. Unfortunately, I wasn't wearing it outside of work as much as I should have. And when you're just in the house and doing things with your kids and all that kind of stuff. I am also a basketball coach. So I found myself kind of doing some things there that, I probably should have had the brace on, but unfortunately, sometimes it really just does impede what you need to be doing, and it really does get in the way. Ultimately, though, what has happened is I've ended up kind of using the wrist a little bit more than I should have, and it's created a lot of stiffness and a lot of a lot of some pretty constant soreness. So I'll be having my surgery tomorrow. Unfortunately, this is the first time. This is the earliest that I could be able to get in there. That I can get in there to on the schedule. I would have done it, back a month or so ago when it had first happened, but it was probably better that it didn't. It was kind of right in the middle of basketball season. From what I've seen, just doing my own research, because I wanted to see kind of what this entailed after speaking to the doctors and seeing exactly what was involved in this process, kind of post-surgery, kind of the surgical process, and then post-surgery. I wanted to just kind of see some personal testimonies of people who have dealt with that. So I, obviously got on the YouTube and I found a couple of good ones. There's not many, so there are a lot of videos about what what it entails, but they're more educational kind of educational type videos. What I was really looking for was personal accounts of it, and I did find a couple. What I did not see in some of these, and which I think that that's the reason I'm going to make a few of these videos, is that there was not a lot of mention of the therapy process. So to start the process, I'll have the surgery tomorrow. I have my first follow-up appointment in 2 weeks following that. So at that point, it seems, for the most part, what I've seen in other people's accounts is that at that point, I will get a hard cast that will go on, and that cast will stay on anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. The average seems to be about 6 to 7. It really just depends on partial tear, full tear, just the severity of what they had to do as far as getting everything kind of back together, getting the ligament kind of back together, and after that, there will be a pin or two that gets inserted, kind of going this way, and that stays in throughout the entirety of the casting. So what I'm looking at is probably about end of May at the earliest, right there at the end of May to get out of the cast, and then at that point, the physical therapy will start. The pin will come out. The physical therapy will start, and I am going to do a lot of documentation of that, because that's the part that I was really kind of interested in. After wearing this brace just for a whole work day, when I take it off, my wrist is pretty sore. It's pretty stiff. It takes a little bit to get some of the motion back into it. I have to be very careful how I move it. So I can only imagine what that is going to feel like after the better part of 2 months of immobility. So I think from what I've spoke to the doctors about, that is a lot of what the therapy process focuses on, is just getting a lot of that range of motion, mobility, flexibility back into the joint, some of that strength in there. But I can only imagine after two something months of not being able to move it, being kind of just stuck right in that one spot with the cast, with the pin in it. It's going to be pretty sore. So that's going to be a little bit of my focus, is just showing some of those the therapy process, some of the exercises that they'll have me doing, and and kind of how that goes. On some of the videos I've seen, it kind of jumps from getting the pin taken out, the cast coming off and the pin taken out. Then it kind of jumps to maybe about a year later, what the flexibility looks like, but I feel like a lot of people would be interested to see what how it gets in that process, just some of those exercises, and, getting some of that fine motor stuff back, some of that mobility and flexibility and strength back in that joint. So, like I said, surgery is tomorrow. I'll probably do another video, if I feel up to it, maybe tomorrow, but probably over the weekend, a couple days post-surgery. And hopefully if this is something you're going through, this will be a little bit helpful. You can kind of see what that process might look like for you if this is something that you're considering doing. The one thing that the doctor did say is that if you don't do it, it's probably about a 95% chance that you will develop arthritis, because what happens is, so that the scaphoid bone here that's kind of directly under the thumb is kind of like a little peanut-shaped, bone. And the lunate bone right next to it over here is kind of more like a little bit of a square, small rectangle shape. But what happens is, unconnected by the ligament, they move in opposite directions. So the scaphoid bone tends to move a little bit more in. Its natural motion is to go in, where the lunate bone kind of comes outwards. So what you end up is kind of getting this little motion here, and you get a big gap here. You get the bones rubbing against the other bones in different directions, and so it just kind of gets ugly. And I spoke to two doctors. And they both said the same thing, that if you don't get the surgery, if you don't repair it, almost 95% you can develop arthritis in the wrist, and that is not something I'm down for. So surgery's tomorrow. Simple, not an overly complicated surgery. They repair the ligaments through just different sutures, holes in the bones, and connecting from different sutures, and kind of weaving it back together and holding it in place. The pin goes in to really stabilize while that stuff kind of all sinks in and gets where it's supposed to be. So, like I said, definitely over the weekend, tomorrow if I feel up to it, but definitely over the weekend I'll throw another video up, just with a little follow-up about kind of how I'm feeling in that process, where I'm at, pain, discomfort, just upkeep, stuff like that. So, but just hope this helps anybody that's going through this also, and just look out for more videos, and we'll go